Okay, so we all know Henry VIII as the king na parang may loyalty card sa kasal. 6 wives, 6 heartbreaks, 6 plot twists, and 1 historical mess. Pero hindi na natin pag-uusapan yung love life niya today guys kasi ginawa ko na yun sa previous episode. So kung hindi mo pa napanood yun, go watch it first saka ka bumalik dito. And guys, I miss you. Pasensya na. Medyo natagalan ng video natin no for today kasi nga nagkasakit ako nung nakaraan. But I'm back and kung napanood yun na yung video na yun, kung ready ka na dyan, pumwesto ka na. Kasi in this video, we're diving into something way juicier, the bloodline itself. Saan ba talaga nagsimula ang Tudors? Sino lahat ng mga Junakis ni Henry VIII, yung mga legitimate and rumored? Why did almost every child meet a tragic, dramatic ending? At paano biglang nag-fade into history ang isang powerful royal family? So this is the political drama, medical mystery, bloodline curse, and royal marites rolled into one. So let's get into the rise and fall of the Tudor dynasty. Okay, long before the crowns, the mistresses, and the executions, ang Tudors guys, galing sila sa Wales. Hindi sila originally royal ha. The story begins with a man named Owen Tudor. Isa siyang Welsh courtier with charming bodyguard energy. Ganon atake niya, na basically naging hot topic sa royal palace. So he served in the royal household of Catherine of Valois. Widow siya ni King Henry V. And guess what guys? Syempre nagkainlaban sila pero secret lang kasi bawal for a dowager queen to remarry without royal permission. Pero sabi nga 'di ba, love always finds a way. So si Catherine and Owen had several kids together. Kahit forbidden love pa yan. And their son na si Edmund Tudor, pinakasalan niya si Margaret Beaufort, a lady with royal blood. So itong si Margaret Beaufort guys, descendant siya ni John of Gaunt na anak ni Edward III. So when their son Henry Tudor was born, he had both royal English blood and strong Welsh roots. Now, fast forward, England fell into civil war. Yung tinatawag na the Wars of the Roses. Actually, nabasa ko nga to dun sa previous video. Sabi ko, ano ba yung Wars of the Roses? Ito pala yun. Now, si Henry Tudor, syempre nilaban niya yung way niya to the throne and he became Henry VII after niyang matalo si Richard III in 1485 sa Battle of Bosworth Field. Now, he married Elizabeth of York, yung heir ng kalabang family. And yung move na yon united the two warring houses, yung Lancaster and York. Tapos ayun, the Tudors officially became the royal family. Okay guys, so Henry VII had several kids. Pero syempre ang pinakasikat ay si Henry VIII. Diba? Siya yung topic natin dito. Now, we all know Henry for his wives collection. But more than that, alam na natin na obsessed siya sa isang bagay. Magkaroon ng lalaking tagapagmana. And that obsession shaped the destiny of England and doomed his dynasty. Okay, finally, after years of Henry VIII chasing the perfect male heir, sa wakas nagkaroon na din siya, di ba? So in 1537, si Jane Seymour gave birth to a baby boy na si Edward VI. So this was Henry's ultimate flex, guys, kasi sabi niya, see? Capable ako. Now, the entire kingdom celebrated. There were bonfires, feasts, bells ringing. Parang buong England nag-welcome party for one tiny baby. Pero, behind the celebration, tragedy na agad. Bakit? Kasi just days after giving birth, si ate girl Jane natin, natsugi siya from postpartum infection or yung sinabi ko sa last video na puerperal fever. Common to noon guys dahil walang antibiotics and poor medical hygiene. So, si Edward grew up without a mother, raised instead by a team of scholars, tutors, and guards. Now, si Henry was obsessed with protecting him. As in yung cradle niya, may special guards yung 24/7. Lahat ng toys niya disinfected, like medieval version, ganon. And bawal lumapit ang sino mang may sipon or ubo. Now guys, Edward wasn't raised like a typical Tudor prince na puro hunting and jousting. Nope. He was raised like a mini CEO. So, he learned Latin, Greek, French, philosophy, theology, mathematics, government, and law. So, at age 6, guys, kaya na niyang mag-translate ng Latin books. At age 8, he could debate theology with adults. He wasn't the, the rugged warrior king Henry dreamed of, but he was brilliant. He also kept a diary, one of the main reasons we know so much about him. And girl, ang dry ng diary niya. Parang pag may namamatay, yung nakalagay doon, my uncle was beheaded today. Parang grocery list level of emotional detachment. Walang parang wala talagang ka-feelings, ganun. Nonchalant lang siya. Now, when Henry VIII died in 1547, Edward became king, guys, at just 9 years old. He was the youngest monarch in Tudor history. Pero syempre, di ba, bagets pa siya. So, ano ba naman yung alam niya sa pagpapatakbo ng buong bansa, di ba? So, Regency Council muna yung totoong nag-rule. This is where things get juicy. Okay guys, Edward had 2 powerful uncles sa side ng nanay niya na si Jane Seymour. So, first, si Edward Seymour, Duke of Somerset. So, he was appointed Lord Protector, essentially acting king. Love na love siya ni Edward. He pushed for Protestant reforms and medyo incompetent sa finances and foreign policy at na-obsess siya sa power. Second, si Thomas Seymour, problematic niyang tito. So, he was handsome, charismatic, and manipulative. Also, he tried to marry Princess Elizabeth. Yes, si Elizabeth I. He also broke into the king's quarters at night. He also attempted to kidnap, some say influence, his own nephew, and he was arrested for treason. Now, when Thomas Seymour was executed, sinulat ni Edward sa diary niya, ito, the Lord Admiral was beheaded today. No emotion. No reaction. Parang nag-note lang siya na may sale sa Shopee. Parang ganun ang atake niya. Now, this childhood trauma, witnessing adults around him fight for power, shaped Edward into a cold, legalistic, by-the-book type of ruler by age 13. Now guys, si Edward VI was raised hardcore Protestant, like Puritan level Protestant, guys. So under his reign, Catholic Mass was banned. Churches were stripped of icons and statues. So tinanggal yung mga yung mga santo. Kasi 'di ba sa Catholic ganun, tayo, nagpe-pray tayo sa mga santo. So tinanggal 'yon. The Book of Common Prayer was created in English. Tapos yung mga pare, they could marry. And religious imagery was destroyed. Tinatawag nila na iconoclasm. Now, this was the most radical religious swing England ever experienced. And Edward, at just 10 to 13 years old, inapprove niya lahat yon. So he honestly believed na he was chosen by God to finish the Protestant transformation his father never completed. So during Edward's rule, guys, the economy tanked dahil una, wars with Scotland and France drained the treasury. Pangalawa, inflation spiked. Pangatlo, coinage was debased. Pang-apat, unemployment rose and rebellions erupted. Yung Kett's Rebellion and Prayer Book Rebellion. Now, Somerset tried to crush revolts but failed and eventually he was removed from power. So pasok sa eksena, guys, si John Dudley, Duke of Northumberland. He was smarter, colder, and 1000% more strategic. Now guys, Edward became very sick in early 1553. His condition started after measles. Then, he developed symptoms of tuberculosis. Siya lang infection na in the 1500s, incurable talaga yun. So, he had weight loss, chronic cough, breathlessness, fever, swelling, and fatigue. So, guys, doctors didn't understand TB back then. Pero syempre, now we know na measles weakens the immune system, allowing TB to take over. Syempre, nagpanic si Northumberland. Kasi pag natsugi si Edward, yung ate niya na si Mary would undo all Protestant reforms. So, he convinced the dying boy king to name a Protestant heir. So, pasok sa eksena yung pinsan niya na si Lady Jane Grey. And oh boy, itong si Lady Jane Grey, kasal siya sa anak ni Northumberland. Very convenient, di ba ka? So, now, Edward signed the device for the succession kasi he believed he was saving England's soul. Now, Edward died on July 6, 1553, only at 15 years old. Witnesses said na he was coughing blood, struggling to breathe, and wasting away. Mga classic final stage daw yun ng TB symptoms. So, nung natsugi siya, guys, the entire kingdom spiraled into a succession crisis. And within 9 days, Mary took back the throne. No? Kasi si Lady Jane Grey, guys, umupo lang siya as queen for 9 days. So, syempre nilaban ni Mary I yung trono. Sabi niya, hindi pwede, akin yan. And yun, Edward's Protestant dream collapsed. So, he ruled for only 6 years, but his reforms shaped England for centuries. He was brilliant, idealistic, religious, and stern. A child forced to be an adult, guys. Kawawa naman si Edward VI. He was a king raised in a cage of politics, surrounded by people who loved power more than him. Yung story niya, guys, is equal parts genius, tragedy, and manipulation. Proof siya that even kings are not safe from family drama. Okay, next in line was Mary I, yung anak ni Catherine of Aragon and Henry VIII. And honestly guys, kung may award for most traumatized Tudor child, si Mary na yung mananalo hands down. Kasi guys, Mary grew up as Henry's adored little princess. She was brilliant, musical siya, fluent siya in Latin, French, Spanish, and super religious, katulad ng nanay niya. Pero at age 17, everything fell apart. Bakit? Kasi when Henry VIII decided na he wanted to annul his marriage kay Catherine, naging collateral damage si Mary. So parang kumbaga Henry was like, hindi ka na legitimate. Sabi ng court, hindi ka na princess. And Mary was like, ha? Bakit? So she was stripped of her title, forced to serve as a lady-in-waiting to baby Elizabeth, yung anak ni Anne Boleyn. And she was even banned from seeing her own mother. Grabe no? So imagine being a royal child tapos suddenly treated like a political prisoner. So Catherine died alone in 1536 and si Mary never siya nakarecover emotionally from that. So this shaped her entire worldview. Loyalty to Catholic faith, loyalty to her mother, and distrust sa Protestant reforms. So fast forward, di ba natsugi na si Edward VI. Si Lady Jane Grey gets pushed into the throne for 9 days. So syempre, nag-raise ng supporter si Mary. She marches into London and boom, England's first ever queen regnant. So at this point, naniniwala si Mary na God personally restored her. So she decided na, I will restore the true Catholic faith. And that brings us to the big topic. Hearsay. Ano ba to in simple terms? So guys, during Mary's time, hearsay meant believing or teaching anything the church says is false. So for example, pag sinabi mo na communion is symbolic only, Catholics considered that hearsay. If dinanay mo yung authority ng Pope, hearsay. If you publicly refuse Catholic rituals, hearsay. So hearsay is equals to religious rebellion, guys. And rebellion was treated as a threat to national security. So hearsay wasn't just a religious disagreement, guys. It was viewed as treason against God and the state. Kaya punishment was severe. So ang tanong, gaano ba kadami yung pina-execute ni Mary? So it was said na around 280 Protestants were burned at the stake during Mary's 5-year reign. So sino-sino ba yung mga nadali nito? Ordinary men and women, merchants, priests, scholars, even teenagers, and most famously, Archbishop Thomas Cranmer. Yun tumulong sa pag-annul ng kasal ng nanay niya and ni Henry VIII. So, burning at the stake, guys, wasn't uncommon in Europe kasi ginagawa din yun ng ibang monarchs. But Mary became infamous because, number one, she revived heresy laws that had been softened under Henry and removed under Edward. Pangalawa, the executions were public. So, imagine mo, no, habang sinusunog ka doon, maraming tao yung nanonood sa'yo. And third, nearly 300 deaths in just 5 years. Protestants wrote emotionally charged accounts of the burnings which spread widely after she died. Kaya kahit historically normal yung punishment noon, Mary became the face of religious persecution. That's how she earned the nickname Bloody Mary. Now, in 1554, si Mary, guys, nagpakasal siya kay Philip II of Spain, isang powerful Catholic prince. Pero guys, this caused massive backlash dahil English people feared na magiging puppet state sila ng Spain. Tapos si Philip barely spent time in England. Hindi rin siya romantic toward Mary. And Mary desperately wanted a child para mabago ang succession. Ito guys, nakakaloka to. Ang sabi, she had 2 false pregnancies. Kasi lumaki yung tiyan niya. Tapos nag-stop na rin yung periods niya. She even had cravings. Kumbaga lahat ng symptoms and signs ng pagiging pregnant meron siya. Pero no baby. Now, modern doctors believe na she may have had ovarian cysts, uterine tumors, or stomach or uterine cancer. So, yung mga conditions na to guys can mimic pregnancy symptoms. Now guys, Mary's later years were marked by heartbreak. Yung husband niya rarely visited. England lost Calais, yung last territory nila in France. Catholic restoration was unpopular and she was constantly sick. Now, Mary died in 1558, likely from influenza epidemic or uterine or ovarian cancer. She was 42 years old. No child, no heir, no victory. Even on her deathbed, Mary believed na she faced failed God and her mother. So ito guys yung mga fun facts about kay Mary the First. She loved music and played the virginals, yung parang early piano. She dressed super glam like her mom, in velvet, jewels, Spanish style. She was also fluent in multiple languages, making her one of the most educated royals of her time. She was actually very kind privately guys. Generous siya sa mga servants nila but harsh siya in public policy. And Elizabeth the First never forgave her sister but kept a beautiful portrait of Catherine of Aragon nearby, out of guilt maybe. Now guys, Mary wasn't a monster, no? She was a woman shaped by trauma, politics, and a lifetime of religious fear. Extreme yung actions niya, yes, pero they were also part of a Europe na laging nag-aaway dahil sa religion. Kumbaga, Mary didn't invent the fire, pero she used it to burn her enemies and herself. Alright, now, if Mary was trauma and tragedy, si Elizabeth I naman ang literal definition ng glow up from chaos. Born in 1533, Elizabeth was the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, which already makes her life a walking political tinderbox. Kasi girl, imagine no, growing up knowing your mother was executed when you were just 2 years old, no? At yung tatay mo ang may utos nun. So, that's generational trauma 101. Okay guys, before Anne Boleyn fell from grace, Elizabeth was a celebrated princess. Pero nung nabeheaded si Anne for alleged adultery and treason, Elizabeth was declared illegitimate, stripped of her title, treated like a political inconvenience, and placed in a household far from court. So same din siya ng kapalaran kay Mary the First, diba? At age 3, hindi na siya Princess Elizabeth guys. Naging Lady Elizabeth na lang siya. But despite that, she grew up insanely smart. Fluent siya in multiple languages, Latin, Greek, French, Italian, and trained by the best scholars of her time. So educationally, she was overpowered. Para siyang walking encyclopedia at 12 years old guys. Smart si Elizabeth. Pero guys, psychologically, her childhood taught her one thing. Don't trust anyone. Ever. Now guys, so natsugi si Henry VIII, yung tatay niya. Elizabeth lived through the chaotic reigns ng kapatid niyang lalaki na si Edward VI and yung ate niya na si Mary I. So, during Mary's rule, Elizabeth became a political threat kasi she was a Protestant symbol and many saw her as the rightful heir. So, ginawa ni Mary, pinakulong niya si Elizabeth sa Tower of London for suspected involvement in Wyatt's rebellion. So, imagine nyo guys, same place yun kung saan din kinulong at pinugutan ng ulo yung nanay niya. Now, Elizabeth literally wrote on the window of her prison cell, "Much suspected by me, nothing proved can be." So, iniisip niya matutsugi na siya doon guys. But she survived. And survival was Elizabeth's superpower. Now, nung natsugi na si Mary I guys noong 1558, naging queen si Elizabeth at age 25. And the kingdom she inherited was a disaster. Bakit? Kasi guys, una, religious civil war. Pangalawa, bankrupt sila, empty na yung treasury nila. Pangatlo, may threat sila from France and Spain. Pang-apat, divided nobles and public distrust. But sis was built for this. She delivered the Elizabethan religious settlement. Compromise siya guys between Catholic and Protestant beliefs. Smart, practical, and strategic. Kumbaga, wag na kayo mag-away-away. Ayusin na lang natin to para everybody happy, di ba? So she said na I have no desire to make windows into men's souls. Meanings, guys, chill lang kayo. Believe what you want privately. Carry lang yan. Ano lang tayo? Peace na tayo. Parang ganun. So this settled religious tension for generations. Bongga, diba? Now, under her leadership, Shakespeare thrived. Arts and theater blossomed. Exploration expanded like si Sir Walter Raleigh, Sir Francis Drake, etc. And England started its rise as a global power. And of course, the legendary Spanish Armada attack in 1588. Yun yung time na Spain tried to invade, but storms plus English ships is equals to Spanish defeat. So Elizabeth appeared in armor at Tilbury and declared, "I have the heart and stomach of a king, and of a king of England too." Bongga. So guys, moments like this cemented her icon status. Eto guys, Elizabeth had suitors left and right. Mga French na prinsipe, foreign kings, even her childhood friend na si Robert Dudley. But she never married. Not because she didn't like men, but because marriage is equals to losing power. And the law said, na a husband could rule with her or over her. And ang sabi ni Elizabeth, ito yung famous line niya, I am married to my people. Bogs. Queen move, diba? CEO move, girl boss. Before girl bossing existed. Now guys, as she aged, Elizabeth suffered from chronic stress, insomnia, loss of close advisors, severe tooth pain, anxiety, and melancholy, or what we call now depression. Then came the heartbreaks. Yung lifelong friend and rumored love niya na si Robert Dudley na Chugi. Yung cousin niya na si Mary, Queen of Scots, was executed. And England became colder politically and literally. Famine, war costs, failed harvests. And she became quieter, sadder, withdrawn. Court observers noted na she would sit motionless for hours. So ang question natin, ano ba nangyari kay Elizabeth? Paano ba siya natsugi? Elizabeth died on March 24, 1603 at age 69. But the cause has always been a mystery. So ito yung mga yung breakdown or yung mga possible cause ng pagkamatay niya. Una, pneumonia. Most likely cause daw to. Weeks before her death, she caught daw a severe cold. So records say she had harsh coughing, fever, weakness, and difficulty breathing. Classic signs of pneumonia siya guys, which was extremely deadly in the 1600s. Kasi 'di ba, wala pang mga antibiotics on time na yon. So no antibiotics equals no survival. Second is blood poisoning from lead makeup. Ito guys, Elizabeth was famous for her white face makeup, 'di ba? Ang tawag daw doon ay ceruse. Mixture siya ng lead plus vinegar. Pero guys, lead is toxic, like super toxic. So yung symptoms of lead poisoning include weakness, mood changes, tremors, kidney damage, hair loss, and skin deterioration, which exactly match descriptions of her late life appearance. Now, historians believe guys na lead poisoning may have weakened her immune system, making the pneumonia deadly. And the third is possible cancer, speculative to but discussed. So chronic swelling, pain, and lethargy in her final months could suggest throat cancer, stomach cancer, or a spreading infection. But because Elizabeth refused an autopsy, we can't confirm. Fourth is psychological decline. So Elizabeth guys was deeply depressed after losing many people she loved. So she reportedly sat for hours on cushions. Ayaw niyang humiga sa kama. She believed na lying down daw meant na she was admitting death was near. So this psychological collapse may have accelerated her physical one. So guys, during her last hours, Elizabeth was speechless. She placed her finger over the name James nung tinanong siya kung sino yung magsasucceed sa kanya. Meaning si James VI of Scotland. And with her final breath, the Tudor dynasty ended. So this was the last royal bloodline directly from Henry VII and Elizabeth of York. Now guys, Elizabeth walked through trauma, imprisonment, political betrayal, attempted murder, religious chaos, and sexism. And it turned it into 45 years of stability and greatness. Yung death niya guys wasn't just the end of a queen. It was the end of an era that changed the world. Ito guys, before lahat ng chaos sa legitimate royal kids, let's talk about the original plot twist ni Henry VIII. His only acknowledged illegitimate son, si Henry FitzRoy. And trust me guys, this boy was a big deal. Okay, before Anne Boleyn guys, before Catherine Howard, before the divorce drama with Catherine of Aragon, si Henry VIII guys, meron siyang mistress, earlier mistress. Ang pangalan niya ay si Elizabeth Bessie Blount. So think of Bessie as the medieval version ng effortless pretty girl. Beautiful, athletic, charming, and a court favorite. So syempre bet na bet siya ni Henry. And in 1519, Bessie gave birth to a son. A healthy, strong baby boy. So here's the gag guys. Si Henry VIII acknowledged him immediately in an era where kings kept their bastard secret. Pero Henry basically shouted, "Yes, akong tatay niyan, akin yan." So this alone tells you how desperate Henry was for a son. Now, Henry named him Henry FitzRoy. So yung FitzRoy guys literally means son of the king. Bongga. Medieval subtlety, zero. Walang effort. Diretso na agad. So Henry was so proud na pinadalhan niya agad si Bessie ng gifts and ensured the baby grew up in luxury. And here's the juicy part guys. Some historians think na si Henry acknowledged FitzRoy to prove na he was capable of producing a healthy male heir. So basically hinting that the problem wasn't him. It was Catherine of Aragon. Politically shade? Absolutely. By age 6, guys, Henry showered FitzRoy with unbelievable honors. Kasi ginawa niya si FitzRoy na Duke of Richmond, Duke of Somerset, and Earl of Nottingham. So, guys, these were huge titles normally reserved for full-blooded royals. And not just that, Henry built FitzRoy his own palace in Yorkshire. He even had his own council and servants. People literally called him Your Grace. Same title given sa mga prinsipe. Diba? Now, this raised major eyebrows in Europe. Tapos kilay talaga sila kasi rumors spread na Henry was planning to legitimize FitzRoy and make him heir. So imagine the scandal, diba? A king replacing his wife's daughter with his side chick's son. At this time, Henry VIII had no surviving sons and only Princess Mary. And girls could technically inherit the throne. Pero syempre, people didn't like that idea. Kasi guys, a female monarch was seen as weak and politically dangerous. So, FitzRoy looked like the perfect solution. Healthy, smart, male, and actually, Henry's oldest child. Mas matanda siya kay, mas nauna kasi to kay Mary I. Now, members of court openly supported the idea of FitzRoy becoming king one day. Pero ang problema, to make FitzRoy heir, kailangan ni Henry ng parliament to legitimize him, and that meant disinheriting Mary. Yun. Very messy. Too messy even for Henry. So, to strengthen FitzRoy's position, ang ginawa ni Henry, arrange siya ng strategic marriage para kay FitzRoy. So, pinakasal si FitzRoy kay Lady Mary Howard. Siya, a daughter of the powerful Howard family. Same family as Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard. So, he was 14. FitzRoy was 14. Si Lady Mary Howard, 14 din. So, yun, 16th century political marriage. Love it? No. Required? Yes. Pero here's the tea, guys. Henry forbade them from consummating the marriage. So, alam niya na yun, diba, sa previous video. Consummating the marriage, yung kailangan nilang mag-boom-boom-pow. So, yun nga, Henry forbade them, so hindi sila pwede mag-boom-boom-pow or magbebangan. Bakit? Kasi, guys, Henry daw was paranoid. FitzRoy daw might die young if he had sex too early. Grabe, no? Anong klaseng yun? Paniniwala. So anyway, people believed na teenage intimacy weakened the body. So ganun ang paniniwala nila that time. It was a wild time. So behind all this royalty treatment, FitzRoy was sickly. He suffered from chronic coughing, exhaustion, and weight loss. Classic signs of tuberculosis. And at that time, guys, TB was known as consumption. Yun yung tawag dati sa TB. Kasi it slowly consumed a person's body. So no cure, no treatment, just prayer and vibes. So literal na wala kang iba magagawa kundi mag-pray ka na lang na i-save ka ni Lord, parang ganon. So in 1536, FitzRoy health collapsed. He was coughing blood, feverish, and rapidly weakening. And he died, guys, at just 17 years old. So historical records say na he died of consumption. Modern historians agree na it was tuberculosis, possibly worsened by stress and a weak immune system. Syempre, devastated si Henry VIII. And here's the twist, guys. FitzRoy died the same year Anne Boleyn was executed. So Henry lost a son and a wife within months. And some historians even believe na FitzRoy's death triggered Henry's worsening depression and paranoia. So guys, ito, si FitzRoy tinatawag nila na the what if king. Bakit? Kasi daw, guys, if FitzRoy had lived, England might have had a King Henry IX. Diba? No Edward VI, no Bloody Mary, no Elizabeth I, no Spanish Armada, no Golden Age. Wala ring Shakespeare booming under a queen. So everything would have been different. And also some historians say na FitzRoy's death changed the entire trajectory of Western history. And that's why this boy, this king's bastard, the almost prince, remains one of the biggest what-ifs in the Tudor story. Okay, now, let's dive into the part na parang Judge Judy show. Bakit? Di parang,
Henry VIII, you are maybe the father.
this is a story, guys, of Mary Boleyn, the woman often overshadowed by her sister Anne, but who might have actually held the king's heart first. Okay, guys, Mary Boleyn was born around 1500s into a rising but not yet royal family. The Boleyns were ambitious social climbers. Think of political dynamos trying to climb the court ladder. So, si Mary and Anne grew up partly in the French court, where Mary earned a reputation as beautiful, charming, popular, and very friendly with men in power. So some French courtiers even wrote na si Mary daw had a reputation. Hindi malicious, but more like the she's too flirtatious type of marites. Ganon. And guess what? Syempre, Henry VIII noticed her first, hindi si Anne, kundi si Mary. So sometime around 1520 to 1523, si Mary became Henry VIII's mistress. So we don't know exactly how long it lasted kasi the Tudor court was basically gossip girl with swords, no? But most historians think it was serious enough to disrupt court politics. So binigyan siya ni Henry ng lands, favors, and attention. He didn't acknowledge their affair publicly kasi kasal nga siya kay Catherine of Aragon. But royal staff and diplomats wrote about it behind the scenes. Siyempre, usap-usapan sila. And here's the wild part. Mary was married during the affair. Kasal siya kay William Carey, guys, a wealthy courtier in 1520. And habang kasal siya kay William Carey, she gave birth to 2 children. Si Catherine Carey noong 1524 and si Henry Carey noong 1526. And that's where the scandal thickens. Ito yung big question, guys. Si Catherine ba and si Henry actually anak ni Henry VIII? So ito yung timeline check daw, guys. So yung affair time frame ni Mary and Henry VIII ay perfectly nag-overlap sa birthday nung dalawang bagets. So ito yung debate ng mga historians. Why some believe they are Henry's kids? Kasi una, guys, Henry VIII was known to acknowledge mistresses privately. Pangalawa, the king rewarded William Carey with lots of grants. Parang, thanks for raising my kids. Parang gano'n ng Amy. And si Catherine Carey, guys, became extraordinarily close kay Queen Elizabeth I. Si Henry Carey naman was given high favor and titles. Tapos both siblings had physical Tudor features, pero this is subjective. Ito naman, bakit others say na no proof? Kasi una, Henry never publicly acknowledged them. Hindi katulad kay FitzRoy. Tapos legally, William Carey was their father. No official documents naming Henry, and the Boleyns never pushed for recognition. Smart move siya politically. Pero guys, ito yung academic consensus. Plausible daw, but unproven. So about 50-50 sa historians, kaya perfect siyang secret history content. Okay, si Catherine Carey grew up to be beautiful, loyal, extremely close siya kay Elizabeth I and one of her most trusted ladies in waiting. So nung natsugi si Catherine, guys, noong 1569, Elizabeth reportedly broke down and cried for days. So that's how deep their bond was. Some take this as evidence na Elizabeth believed Catherine was her half-sister, but again, no confirmation. Ito, guys, si Henry Carey naman grew up to become a successful nobleman, a soldier, a diplomat, and later first Baron Hunsdon. So ito yung fun fact, guys. He became a patron of the Lord Chamberlain's men. Acting troupe siya of a guy named, alam niyo ko sino, guys? William Shakespeare. Yes, that's Shakespeare. So some historians joke nga na if Henry Carey was Henry VIII's son, Shakespeare's entire career daw was literally funded by a Tudor prince. Iconic, di ba? So here's where the plot thickens, guys. Kasi when Anne Boleyn rose to power as Henry's new obsession, she reportedly looked down on Mary. So Mary daw was seen as too soft, too romantic, too impulsive, and lacked ambition. And Anne was the opposite daw. Strategic, educated, political, and fierce. Now, ito, guys. Mary allegedly told Anne, listen to this. Sabi daw ni Mary kay Anne,
"The king has had me first."
To which Anne supposedly said,
"Better to be the king's mistress than his whore."
ouch, brutal but true. Diba? Now, guys, after William Carey died, Mary Boleyn secretly married for love to a man below her social rank. Ang pangalan niya ay si William Stafford. So guys, this was a big no-no. The Boleyn family was furious and she was cut off financially and socially. Even si Queen Anne Boleyn refused to help her sister. Kawawa naman, no? And Mary basically vanished from court, living quietly, happily, and poorish with her new husband. So ironically, guys, Mary lived longer and happier than Anne, who was executed in 1536. And yan, si Mary died in 1543 at around age 43. So, even though Henry VIII never acknowledged them, si Catherine Carey, guys, had over 10 children, many of whom served Queen Elizabeth. Si Henry Carey naman became one of the most powerful nobles under Elizabeth. And their descendants married into major aristocratic families, and their bloodline continues today in British nobility. So, kung anak nga sila ni Henry, yung lineage nila guys might actually be the largest surviving branch of Tudor blood, hidden in plain sight, just not officially recognized. So, Mary Boleyn guys wasn't just Anne's sister. She was the king's lover, the mother of the most debated royal children, a political pawn, a romantic rebel, and the woman whose legacy possibly carried Tudor DNA into the modern world. Yung story niya guys shows how the Tudors didn't just rule through wars and crowns. They ruled through secrets, affairs, and bloodlines na never natin napatunayan pero never rin natin makalimutan. So, after all the chaos, the divorces, beheadings, miscarriages, religious wars, childhood trauma, political executions, ang dami no, teenage rebellions, and royal heartbreaks. Guys, the Tudor dynasty reached its final chapter. At this point, the royal family was basically running on fumes. So, let's break down the brutal reality, guys. Bakit nga ba walang sons and no survival? No? Ito guys, Edward VI died at 15. Si Mary I died childless at 42. Elizabeth I also died childless at 69. Si Henry FitzRoy died at 17. The rumored Carey kids, di naman sila acknowledged. The Tudor male line, dead. The legitimate Tudor line, hanging by a thread. So by the time Elizabeth reached her late 50s, everyone knew this dynasty wasn't going to survive. And the irony, a family obsessed with producing heirs ended with none. Ito guys, Elizabeth refused to name a successor most of her life kasi nga, naming an heir is equals to inviting rebellion. Yung chosen heir becomes a political target and foreign nations could use it as justification to manipulate England. So habang tumatanda si Elizabeth guys, lahat ng courtiers and foreign ambassadors were low-key panicking. Kasi kung walang malinaw na heir, civil war is possible. Multiple claimants would rise. Foreign powers could invade and England could collapse politically. So ito yung Europe's version of who gets the throne if the CEO dies. So ang tanong, sino ba yung mga candidates? Maraming claimants but the top ones were una si Mary Queen of Scots. Closest blood relative siya but Catholic, seen as a threat, imprisoned by Elizabeth and eventually executed, so too risky. Pangalawa naman, the Grey family. So descendants to guys ng sister ni Henry VIII na si Mary Tudor. But after nung disaster kay Lady Jane Grey, they fell out of favor. And number 3, the Stuarts from Scotland. Descendants to ni Margaret Tudor guys, yung ate ni Henry VIII. So legit bloodline din sila, Protestant-ish, politically strong, and their king was James VI of Scotland. And honestly, siya lang talaga guys ang may logical claim and political backing. And Elizabeth never publicly declared him heir, pero everyone knew. So by 1602 to 1603, di ba guys, Elizabeth was depressed, grieving, exhausted, and constantly ill. She refused to lie down. She stood or sat on the floor, surrounded by cushions. She barely spoke, she barely ate, and she barely slept. So, courtiers begged her to go to bed and she said na, if I go to bed, I may never rise again. At ayaw niya tanggapin na tapos na yung ira niya. Eventually, yun nga, pneumonia overtook her. She grew silent. And yun nga, yung finger niya drifted toward the name James. And that was her unofficial signal na yung next king will be James VI of Scotland. So Elizabeth I died quietly at age 69. No children, no siblings left, no cousins with equal claim, no Tudor bloodline to continue the legacy. And at that moment, the Tudor dynasty, which started with a forbidden love affair between a Welsh man and a French queen, ended with a woman who ruled alone, unmarried, childless, but legendary. Yung death niya guys wasn't just the passing of a queen, it was the extinction of a royal house that defined England. So, yung smooth transition to James was a political miracle kasi he was Protestant enough for England. Tudor siya by blood through Margaret Tudor. He is already a king in his own right and smart siya and diplomatic. So when he arrived in London, people cheered. After decades of religious violence and political chaos, England finally had stability. So yung transition na to guys, formed the Union of the Crowns, uniting Scotland and England under one monarch for the first time. So ang question natin, why the Tudors really ended? Ito yung, here's the final truth guys. The Tudors didn't fall because of a war. They didn't fall because of a rebellion. They also didn't fall because of political assassination. They fell because of infertility, miscarriages, religious divisions, trauma-driven decisions, genetic bad luck, childless monarchs, early deaths, and Henry VIII's medical issues. The dynasty that changed England forever was destroyed by the very thing it obsessed over the most, producing a perfect heir. So guys, the Tudor dynasty, one of the most powerful families in world history, lasted only 118 years, just 5 monarchs, and it ended because none of Henry VIII's children had children. A dynasty built on blood ended because they had none left. Okay now guys, let's talk about something na mas malawak pa sa politics, religion, or royal drama. The Tudor curse. Yung idea na parang may sumpa talaga tong family na to when it comes to producing healthy heirs. So when you look at their family tree, no, mapapansin mo agad na parang may dark cloud hovering over every womb, every pregnancy, every baby crib. Si Catherine of Aragon, guys, 7 pregnancies. Pero only 1 surviving child na si Mary I. Si Anne Boleyn, guys, 1 daughter, si Elizabeth, and at least 2 miscarriages. Si Jane Seymour, 1 son, si Edward, and then she died immediately after. Si Anne of Cleves, no children, kasi annulled naman yung marriage nila. Si Catherine Howard, wala din silang anak kasi na-execute siya. And yan, si Catherine Parr, wala din silang anak. Henry VIII fathered 1 healthy male son, and the rest stillbirths, miscarriages, phantom pregnancies, infant deaths. And his only acknowledged illegitimate son na si FitzRoy died at 17. So statistically guys, that's not normal. So ang tanong, what exactly was happening? So let's break down every major medical theory para finally may sense din yung kung ano yung nangyari, no? So ang first theory ay the syphilis myth. Ito yung most popular but least supported. So old school historians used to say, maybe Henry had syphilis kaya defective yung mga anak. Sounds juicy, di ba? Pero why historians say this is unlikely? Kasi una, no medical record of Henry receiving mercury treatments. Standard cure daw yun guys sa time na yun. Pangalawa, none of his symptoms actually match late-stage syphilis. Pangatlo, syphilis wouldn't cause only female babies to survive. And syphilis would have affected Henry's own health more severely. So in short, syphilis was the 1500s version of clickbait. Rumor siya na nag-stuck because it sounded scandalous. Kumbaga, king with STD ruins dynasty is dramatic, but medically weak ang evidence. So theory number 2 ay jousting accident to brain damage to hormonal imbalance. Now, this one is more realistic kasi in 1536, Henry suffered a massive jousting accident. He fell from his horse. He was unconscious for hours, possibly suffered a skull fracture. He had lingering migraines. Personality niya dramatically changed. Libido niya decreased. His leg ulcer got worse. He grew obese and he became paranoid, violent, and irrational. So, modern doctors believe guys na he might have suffered a traumatic brain injury or damage to the pituitary gland, part siya ng brain that controls hormones. So, if your pituitary gland guys gets damaged, your testosterone drops, your fertility decreases, yung sperm count mo lowers, your mood swings skyrocket, and your weight increases. So all of these guys happened to Henry. This doesn't fully explain the miscarriages early in his reign, but it explains his fertility decline in his 30s to 40s. So next theory is the Kell antigen hypothesis. Most fascinating to guys kasi researchers propose na si Henry VIII may have had a rare blood type involving the Kell antigen. So, ito, quick science muna tayo. Kung ang father daw is Kell positive and yung mother is Kell negative, ang first pregnancy daw is usually fine. Pero after the mother's body builds antibodies, yung next pregnancies daw can suffer miscarriages, stillbirths, or early infant death. Sounds familiar, right? Si Catherine of Aragon, guys, first baby died shortly after birth. Later pregnancies resulted in stillbirths. Si Anne Boleyn, ganun din. First child niya si Elizabeth survives and then later babies miscarried. So this pattern exactly matches Kell incompatibility. But ito, important disclaimer to guys there's no Tudor DNA sample to confirm this. So it is theoretically possible, medically sound, but unproven. Still, it's the theory that gives historians a eureka moment. Theory number 4 Henry had a rare genetic disorder. So some historians and medical researchers suggested other rare conditions, yun, type 2 diabetes. So ang symptoms yan, obesity, slow healing wounds, infertility, mood changes. Henry had all of this by age 40 plus. Next is the Klinefelter syndrome or XXY syndrome. Unlikely to. This causes infertility in men but cannot be Henry's condition because he clearly fathered multiple children. Yung Macleod syndrome naman, a rare genetic disorder that can cause muscle weakness, psychiatric changes, infertility, and neurological decline. So, this one fits Henry's late life symptoms but again, walang DNA proof. Theory number 5, the problem wasn't Henry, it was 16th century medicine. Wait lang, let's zoom out for a sec guys, no? Kasi before, yung modern medicine nila, 1 in 3 babies died before age 1. Women constantly died from childbirth infection. Midwives had zero concept of germs. Blood loss could kill instantly. Breech babies often resulted in death. Placental issues had no treatment, no prenatal care, no ultrasounds, no vitamins, no C-sections unless mother was dead already. So some miscarriages simply normal for the era. But the amount of losses na na-experience ni Henry above average guys even for that time. So medicine alone cannot explain everything. Ito pa pala guys, isa pang theory, psychological stress plus toxic court environment. So the Tudor court was a pressure cooker guys. Bakit? Kasi queens executed, political plots, constant fear, religious wars, emotional trauma, unhealthy expectations, and women blamed for everything. So, di ba guys, stress affects pregnancy, trauma affects hormones, toxic environment affects maternal health. So imagine mo na lang no, getting pregnant knowing na if this baby dies, baka ako na yung next na mapugutan, di ba? So that alone could cause stress-related pregnancy complications. Theory number 7 guys, the Tudor genetic line was already weak. So from Henry VII's side, ito sa side ni Henry VII, meron sila anxiety, nervous breakdowns, frail health, fertility issues, many infant deaths in extended family. Sa side naman ni Elizabeth of York, multiple miscarriages, weak immune systems, frequent childhood mortality. So kung ikukumbay mo yung genes nila, you get a dynasty built on delicate genetics. So ang tanong, was there a Tudor curse? Based on evidence, hindi siya guys magic, hindi rin siya curse from the universe, at hindi rin siya divine punishment. It was a deadly cocktail of medieval healthcare, trauma, political stress, possible genetic incompatibility, Henry's declining health, rare blood antigen possibilities, dangerous pregnancies, poor sanitation, high infant mortality rates, and constant pressure to produce heirs. So, a perfect storm siya. Hindi naman talaga cursed yung Tudors. There were human beings trapped in a brutal system, and yung obsession nila with producing heirs became the very thing that killed their dynasty. Okay guys, alam ko medyo mahaba-haba na to, pero malapit na tayo guys. So after everything, yan, the love affairs, betrayals, battles, beheadings, miscarriages, political revolutions, and the collapse of their own bloodline, ang tanong, ano nga ba talaga yung iniwan ng Tudor dynasty sa mundo? Kasi guys, here's the tea. Natsugi man ng Tudors guys, but they never actually disappeared. Yung fingerprints nila are all over modern history. So una, before the Tudors guys, the monarchy was basically a medieval mess. Kasi weak kings, unstable successions, and nobles acting like mini kings. So after the Tudors, the crown became centralized, powerful, almost godlike in authority. Henry VIII and Elizabeth I created a monarchy na independent from the Pope, feared by foreign powers, controlled the nobility, and commanded loyalty from the people. They made England shift from a fragile kingdom into a unified political identity. Pangalawa guys, you cannot talk about the Tudors without mentioning the arts kasi this period birthed William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, Ben Jonson, English theater, court masks, poetry, music, fashion, and literature. So it was literally the English Renaissance, a rebirth of culture, ideas, and creativity. So Elizabeth I wasn't just a queen. She was the influencer of her time, celebrity, icon, fashion trendsetter. So kung may Instagram na siya noon, one post, 1 million likes minimum. Third, under Henry VII, guys, Henry VIII, and especially Elizabeth I, England started exploring beyond Europe. This paved the way for transatlantic voyages, early colonization, global trade routes, the rise of the British Navy. So kung walang Tudors, walang British Empire sa future. Good or bad, that's the complicated legacy the world still feels today. Fourth, this is the biggest one, guys. Henry VIII's break from Rome wasn't just marites about divorce, guys. It sparked the English Reformation, creation of the Church of England, decline of papal authority, Protestant identity of England, and centuries of religious conflict. So, syempre, si Mary I, trinay niya i-reverse yun. Kasi diba, Catholic siya. Si Elizabeth naman, in-stabilize niya. But either way, the Tudors reshaped the entire spiritual identity of a nation. Even today, every British monarch is still crowned as the supreme governor of the Church of England. So that, guys, is pure Tudor legacy. Fifth, this dynasty, guys, was supposed to be all about men. Pero ang nagdala sa kanila, mga babae. Si Catherine of Aragon, political strategist. Si Anne Boleyn, intellectual influencer. Si Mary I, first queen regnant, and si Elizabeth I, one of the greatest rulers in history. So these women ruled, negotiated, and survived in a world where they were never meant to hold power. The Tudors accidentally created Europe's strongest female-led era. Sixth, under the Tudors, guys, English became the language of power instead of Latin or French. Nationalism strengthened, and the concept of England as a nation solidified. So hindi lang siya, guys, politics, it was identity. The way we think of British culture today, guys, rooted siya sa foundation ng Tudor. Seventh, why are we still obsessed with the Tudors, no? Kasi, guys, their lives feel like a medieval Netflix series, diba? Isipin yung forbidden love, scandals, political assassinations, religious uprising, royal succession, drama, betrayal within families, and executions that changed history. They're the perfect mix, guys, of power plus tragedy plus personality, and that's why their story never dies. So, guys, the Tudors ruled for only 118 years, diba? Pero yung impact niya, centuries ang tinakbo. Kasi they shaped the monarchy, the church, the English language, global politics, the arts, gender roles, and national identity. And even though they vanished, they left behind a world permanently altered by their choices. The Tudors didn't fade quietly. They ended in fire, scandal, and mystery. But they left a legacy na mas matibay pa kaysa sa sarili nilang bloodline. They may have died out, pero yung story nila, immortal. So guys, after everything we uncovered, yung forbidden love affairs, royal betrayals, medical mysteries, and the bloodline that literally erased itself from history, gusto kong ibalik yung question sa inyo. Kung ikaw, mabubuhay sa panahon ng Tudors, kaninong rin yung pipiliin mo? Yung chaotic political chess game ni Henry VIII? Yung religious firestorm ni Mary I? O yung glam golden age ni Queen Elizabeth I? And real talk, guys, you think may Tudor curse nga ba? Or were they just victims of their own choices, fears, and genetics? Curious ako, guys, kung ano interpretation nyo sa story nila. Kasi the Tudors aren't just history. Mirror sila of how power can build an empire and destroy a family at the same time. I wanna know your thoughts, guys. Sabi nabasa ko lahat ng comments nyo. And if may iba ka pang story suggestions, crime, mystery, o kahit historical scandal, comment mo or DM mo lang sa akin. Malay mo yan ang next Dark Chika natin. Real stories, twisted endings, Dark Chika. This is sa likod ng kwento with me, Apple Sison. And as always, don't forget to like, follow, share, and save. And I hope to see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay curious. I miss you guys. I love you. Bye.